Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Diablo 3. My name is Wilfred. So today I'd like to play a little bit of this melee necromancer build. I'm just messing around at the beginning of the season, and so far I'm a destroyer. Still got a couple more steps to go to earn my guardian status. I need to do some conquest. But having said that, I mean, I'm having a lot of fun with this season, although the fact that it's kind of hard to find a strong hero or build unless you go for the Legacy of Nightmare kind of like setup, which I'm not having it right now because it does take a while to get the gear and so on, although I do have a whole tab full of ancient items. So now the this build I'm playing is rather unusual, and I've got it like from Icy Vein to start with, but you know, a lot of builds from Icy Vein, they are pretty good to start, but then you realize that each of them has their own limitation, and it's really up to you to see what you can do a little bit better as well. So build wise, if you take a look at the the skill that I have, is very much a very interesting build. It based around the fact that I'm using the basic power, or the a primary power, which traditionally is very low DPS, like only 150 weapon damage, but there are many ways to make it really awesome. So for example, there are gears whereby you could multiply the primary kind of like power, and you could also use very clever setup, like the some of this is again synergize with the Grim Synth, which is to apply the curse 100%. That will synergize with the bell, that would have 50% damage reduction, and then there are things like the cube that I've got, whereby if there are multiple kind of like poison skill that I use, I'll increase damage by 100%, and this one further buff the primary skill another 100%. So that's a fair bit of like upgrade in terms of the primary power here. So basically, this is my main spender, and the interesting things about this one is that it does additional damage, it can up to 80% by the way. For each point of essence it restores. So this guy here restored 12 essence, so per enemy hit. So as you can see, if you do hit multiple target, you do generate quite a fair bit of like essence back, and everything buffed together. I've got a legendary Dam that would further buff the primary skill as well, and also heal myself for 4% of health when I hit with my primary abilities. So all in all, it's pretty interesting build, something I've never done before, and a lot of power, like just for the poison layer. So for example, the bone armor is poison, this one is stun, and this guy is a kill command, so that is poison as well. The poison Death Nova is also poison, is AoE on the ground, and so I mean basically, and this one Grim Synth is also poison. That gives you 4 layers of poison that synergize with the with this Black Death kind of like a weapon here cubed in. So it's really interesting, and to spend the to spend the essence so that you could have a very low essence kind of build. I use the skeleton mage to singularity mage to just dump out all the essence. So once I do that, my essence is dropped to 0. So that is really to buff everything else that I have. Now this build is rather fun. The fun things aside, the only downside is that this build has no potential, or very little potential. It has very little damage reduction kind of mechanism. For example, the only one that there are a couple of layers here. It's good to introduce to you guys so that you know when you watch the video how to reconcile back to the whole game mechanic itself. Is that bone armor is something like you get like certain percent, 3%. Per enemy up to 10 enemies, so it's 30% here. But if you wear a Wisdom of Kalan, then you can step up to 5, so that would be like 15 stat instead. And then after that, you can have some of the passive, I believe, not the passive, sorry, I believe there are some of the runes, for example, like that give the kind of this is stun as well. So it's a fair bit of like a damage reduction. If you have the set, you get an extra 2% damage reduction. So all in all, I mean, if you look at bone armor is 3%, then plus 2% is 5%, 15 stat, then you got 45%. So it's still not good enough because 45% is pretty low. For damage reduction, you can get a lot gear or whatnot higher. Now you could use Unity as well, but the problem with Unity is that it doesn't really facilitate group play. So another option is the Nonel Sunstone, which is kind of interesting because if you cube it in, if you are low health, like 50 and below, you gain like 50 and above percent damage reduction. But the problem is that it doesn't prevent you getting one shot, because the first shot that hits you while you're at full life, you take it full, you don't have any damage reduction. So now if you look at Icy Vein, then the bits about it is really about they use a Nephilim kind of like a bracer, but I found that it's a little bit too not so I mean the protection is not that high. So what I've got is that I've got stun enemy within 25 yards, reduce damage taken by 12%, each one of them. So you could go in to stun, so usually dash into a stun, and you can stun a couple of them. You get additional damage reduction. If you've got 4 of them, is 48%. That's pretty not bad. So I prefer using this one as well. Another thing that I like to change is that the gem itself. So Icy Vein kind of like suggested the purple gem that is for health, but I found that if you reduce the cooldown, you can blood rush a bit more often. You can do like bone armor more often. I mean, I think all of this will help you to survive in a fair bit, because when you do blood rush, you could actually get another 100% of the armor increase, and plus the standalone as well, which is another 100%. So that is a fair bit. And yeah, so that is there's a fun foundation of the build. Now the interesting thing about it is that you do have minions, but the more minions you have, the lesser armor that you will have as well. So you try not to have these guys around too much. Q command is the one that you can just send them for kamikaze and they will just die off. So it's a little bit of like a judgment on how much essence to have, and how much, when is the one that offload your warrior, when do you lay the poison, and so on. Alright, so now that is the quick intro of the class itself. I'm playing a 70 again, mainly because I played, my last video is a 70, so I think this one shows that I'm a little bit more comfortable in playing this this time around, and we'll see how it goes. Now this map is not exactly good. You have all these like very a lot of mobs that run around you, but yep, there's final surface. So it's very hard. These things are very this build is not very strong against like range like this one here. So it's you have to be a little bit careful right now. Alright, just farming mobs. Whoa! You have to dodge a bullet a little bit, by the way. So whenever you level up, just try to make sure that you offload your essence, because the more essence you have, the it's not that great. So yeah. Woo! Is the poison, is a bullet. So this map is not that easy to go by. You have to be a little bit careful as well. Alright, just working my way through this map. I'm not really liking this map at all. Force that, by the way, or poison. That is the whole gist of it. Woo! I mean, the DPS is pretty strong. This build. It's just that it's very, very fragile, and I don't really enjoy classes that are that fragile, but for that kind of, you know, trade-off, it doesn't seem that it's that strong either. So I think this build is very, very limited on what it can do. That would be my verdict. What? Yeah. Well, let's just move on. Yep, man, this is very, very exciting. I hope the next map is not that hard. Alright, these guys I can do. Small one. Oh, there's a shield up there. What am I doing? Alright, now is the time when you find some elite, which is like this one here. I mean, consider the fact that I'm using just primary power. That is pretty interesting. I mean, I haven't played anything like that in Diablo before. Yeah, but oops, I think I've gone the wrong way. Oop, there was a rubber banding, is it? So I'm shielded anyway, so I can just stand on all the bad stuff. Alright, there's an elite there. Done. Yeah, I mean the DPS is pretty fantastic here. It's just the survivability, unfortunately, is not that great for, like, you know, a level like a Greater Rift 70. I mean, when it works, it's really cool. Just working my way through. I think after this should be it. All right. Yep, so that's done. The timing is pretty terrible, but it depends on the map it is as well. So just to demonstrate a little bit this build with my gear, whereby I've got like almost all the gear that I need to, and it's still rather underwhelming. So I think that is pretty much the well, pretty much a verdict I have when I play this one, because it's just a little bit a bit hard to survive, I think, for this build. So that is my final verdict. Now, are there anything I could do about it? I think, I mean, looking back at the build itself, you know, all my gear is alright. I think, you know, I don't really have a lot of ancient gear, or nor you know, gear that I have augmented. So no, I haven't got anything like that. But I guess in a way I should be able to do a little bit higher, like 75. Had it been my witch doctor from the last season. So no, this build is not going to work. But it's a fun build. It's a melee build whereby, you know, you manage the reverse of resource. You manage the fact that your resource, you know, may not be sufficient for you to. I mean, you just have to keep low resource all the time. I think that is the fun part of it. Certainly something that I have not tried in Diablo 3. So if anyone of you like to just try out, I mean, my advice to you is to use a diamond gem or the white gem, so as to reduce the cooldown of this guy here. Try to do like you know, this guy here is kind of like, you know, useful as well. I think some actually talk about using the blind faith as well. I mean, blind faith is a head item that gives you 20 to 40% chance to just blind a target. But I don't think you need to get to that extreme for that. Yeah, that's my verdict. All right, so now if anyone like to just contribute a little bit, you know, on where things are, what are the interesting builds are you guys are playing, do drop a comment below. I'm very, very keen to hear if you have something that I can explore as well. I think my next character will be a monk for me to complete the season journey. But meanwhile, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you're enjoying your season 17, I think. 17 now? Yes, as much as I do. Bye-bye.